Hello, Abnormal Investigations. I've got another encounter for you. I think y'all are going to really enjoy this one. Don't forget Saturday night, 8. Oh, no, that's not going to be 8 this time. It's going to be 7:45 Central Standard Time. We are going to be having our live, so hope to see y'all there. At the beginning of this year, I, a 24-year-old female, went through the long and exhausting process of moving my house. I had finally moved out of my apartment and into my grandmother's old home, who kindly rented it to me. The house was nice. It was a single flat with 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a nice living room with a wood stove. It had an attic, a crawl space, which is where all this takes place, and a big background for my 2 beautiful Rotties, Mary and Elka. Unlike Rottweilers are portrayed, they aren't actually as aggressive as other aggressive dog breeds. In fact, Elka was a big goofball who always wanted to befriend everyone and everything, and Mary was a scaredy cat who liked to cover behind Elka until Mary decided it was safe. The first few weeks I moved in, everyone was fine. It was in the 3rd or 4th week when all this actually started. It was late one night, a Wednesday or a Thursday, I believe. I was watching some Netflix show on my laptop, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Mary and Elka were laying further down on my bed. I remember it was getting late. In fact, it was 11 o'clock p.m. It was the latest I've been up in that house. But still, I wanted to watch just one more episode. I'm sure we've all been that guilty. A new episode has started, and with it, this strange, scratching sound came with it. I waited for one of the characters to explain the sound, but they didn't. I decided to pause the show to make sure it was on the show. Well, it wasn't on the show. The scratching continued. I needed to go to the bathroom, and I thought that since I was up, I'd go check out the sounds anyways. I did my business, then walked around the house trying to hear where the sounds was loudest. It took me to the corner of the living room. The sound sounded like someone was scratching on the wooded floorboards from underneath me. I don't really feel scared, more intrigued if anything, so I decided to do something stupid. I stomped my foot on the floor where the sound was coming from. I don't know what it was expecting, but to my surprise, the sound actually stopped. Satisfied, I walked back to my room, but not before hearing a low growl. It was hard to explain. Excuse me. It sounded girly, like a dog was growling with her water in her mouth. It was strange, but it didn't give me much thought. I fell asleep soon after that. Fast forward until 2 nights ago, as of writing this. I was having a movie night with one of my mates, Devin. We were watching Red Notice when at 11 o'clock, like clockwork, the scratching started again. Devin and I discussed what it could be, and I informed him about the last occurrence. I went over to the same corner and stomped it again, and it stopped, but only for about, probably 30-45 minutes. And later, the scratching started up again. By then, I was getting frustrated. I remember telling Devin it must have been a possum or some rodent like that in the crawl space. Devin offered to go check to see what it was. I, however, declined, but he insisted. It took a while, but finally I gave in, as long as he took a firearm for safety. So soon we were out in the cold night sky at the side of my house with a torch, a firearm, and the keys to the crawl space. When Devin opened the door, I shuddered. I hate small places. I wanted Devin to chicken out and just go back inside. But Devin didn't. He crawled in. I waited for what felt like hours, but it must have been 3 or so minutes. I stood shivering and just to sense her light with my misty breath, and I have expected Devin to scream and get his face ripped off by some wild animal, but that didn't happen. In fact, it was dead silent. I kneeled down to look into the crawl space. Devin? My shivering voice called into the darkness. I couldn't see him there. He was too far in. Devin, I called out a little louder. No response. A few more minutes went past, though, and I thought of calling the police in my head when finally I heard a shuffling noise, and then I saw Devin, but shuffling out of the opening. He was crawling backwards out of the crawl space when I smiled. Thank God, I thought you must have. He said, we've got to go. Devin interrupted. I was holding my wrist so tight, or he grabbed my wrist and was holding it so tight, and the look of fear in his eyes scared me so bad. I think I was more scared than he was. Devin, though I'd seen him not like this ever before, he was panicking. Not in a long, long time, at least. I tried talking to him. He started dragging me toward his car. Devin, what's going on? You're screaming and scaring me so bad, I added. Devin wouldn't say anything. He just kept screaming, we have to go. He just repeated, we've got to go. We've got to go, 2 to 3 more times. He opened the door, set me in the car, and then opened the back door. Mary, Elka, come, he called. A moment later, Mary and Elka came barreling into the house, and then out of the house, and then into the car. He locked the doors, and he floored it. I remember pleading with Devin on the verge of tears, begging him to tell me what he saw. I'd never seen him like this, and his actions scared me more than what he had said. Devin drove to his house and parked in the driveway and stared into space. Devin, what happened? I asked one more time. Devin looked at me with a serious look. He stared into my eyes and said in a calm yet somehow terrifying tone, Harley, whatever that was scratching underneath the house, that wasn't a rodent. He looked at the driver's window, and I could see he was fighting back tears. God, it had pale skin and long fingers that were made entirely of fingernails, and it had like a baby look to it, but it was the size of me. Does that even make sense? And its face. That was the worst part. His voice and body started trembling, but I could see he was trying so hard to stay strong. It had no face, just fleshy skin, whereas its eyes should have been. He swallowed and looked back at me. There were just black, gaping holes. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to tell Devin that was a good one. That was the best prank he had ever played, but I couldn't. His eyes were filled with so much fear, and his tone was so serious. I could tell this was no joke. That night we stayed in the car. I think I eventually fell asleep, but I know Devin didn't. I've been sleeping in Devin's couch ever since. That night was the most horrible night I'd ever seen. I know what I saw was real. He's not a joke, let alone put that much emotion into it. And if it's a joke, hell, that man deserves an Oscar. I've been slowly moving my stuff into my grandmother's present house, but I only get my stuff in the daytime, and I don't go back to that house at night, and definitely won't go back there after 11. Yeah, I don't know what's under your house, but if you're continuing to move your stuff in there, I would definitely make sure that I got rid of whatever was in that crawl space, and I would even have a preacher bless the house, because if you go there and start living there, this thing may decide to come out of there, and it may be through your floorboards, or it may have another way into your house you don't even know about. So imagine waking up with it standing over your bed because it knows how to get in. I would definitely take care of this thing. I wouldn't feel any safer knowing I was there in the daylight now than in the dark, because now that it knows you know, it may not matter to it if it is dark or daylight. So just a word of caution, I'd be very careful, and I would try to get rid of it. Thank you for watching, guys, and thank you for listening. Until next time, keep your head on a swivel, and don't be something's dinner.